Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video in the Minestom Minecraft server development series. In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to use the adventure library. Welcome back everybody. So according to the adventure documentation itself, adventure is a library for server controllable user interface elements in Minecraft Java Edition. Now the user interface elements it's talking about is stuff like messages, titles, boss bar, sound, books, the player tab list, all kinds of stuff like that you would usually send to a player or other stuff on the server. Adventure allows you to create and send these elements in an easy way, and also just in a way that makes the experience generally better than you would have to do otherwise. Adventure is not something that is unique to Minestom. It's actually an external third-party library that Minestom has included into Minestom just because it's so cool. So this official adventure documentation is separate from Minestom, and I'll have a link for this in the description below so you can check it out yourself. This teaches you basically how to use it, and all the different concepts involved in adventure. So in this video, I'm going to focus specifically on sending messages and titles, but also just how to use the adventure library and how to use audiences and stuff like that, what they are. There's a lot more things, of course, that I could show you, but we'll learn more about that later in the series. But also, just learning these basics here will allow you to learn those other things really easily because the same concepts apply, okay? To test this out, we're just going to add some code to our event handler for the player block break event that we did before, so that every time they break a block, it'll send them a message, and we could, play around with how that message appears. If we want to send a player who broke a block a message, we can do event.getPlayer, and then now that we have a player, we can do .send message. And you can see that there's a lot of different versions of this method here. One of them accepts just a string, so you just pass in like a regular string, and that will be sent to the player as a message. Or you can do a component. So we can create a component by doing component and if you scroll down, you'll see a bunch of ones involving text. So component.text will allow you to create a text component. So we just go ahead and type text and press tab to complete that. Now we can provide our text inside of here. So we could say, hello, this is a test. Or actually we'll say, you just broke a block. So this is our text. So what we've done here is created a component that has text within it. And now we're just going to send that component to the player. What's cool about this is that now that it's a component instead of just a string, you can build upon it, add formatting and colors and other advanced features, but we'll see that in a second. For now, let's just go ahead and start the server and see if this works. Alright, I'm on the server now, so we can test it out by breaking a block. And boom, it says you just broke a block. Coming back to the code here, one thing that we could do is add some color to this. So within the .text method, we have also different overloaded versions of this. So you have style, text color, all kinds of stuff here. Text decoration, for example. Let's focus on text color. So text color, and for this you can do text color dot, and you have these different options here. So you can provide color in different ways, like an HSV value, RGB. You could also do a CSS hex string, so hexadecimal. Pretty cool. Or if you just want to do like a normal like default Minecraft color, you can do named text color dot, and then here's all the default Minecraft colors. So you have gray, aqua, black, blue, and so on. So let's just do aqua. That's one of my favorite colors. So now what we have here is a text component that has some text within it, but it should be colored aqua. So let's try this out. Okay, break a block, and boom, it says you just broke a block, but now it's aqua colored, so that works perfectly. What you can do is actually just take all of this, Control X, cut that, and just extrapolate that into a variable. So var message is equal to component.text, and now you can add more stuff onto this. So if you want to, you could also do .color and do the same exact thing. If you want to provide named text color .aqua, you can do that, and then you get rid of this one. You can also do decoration. So decoration is stuff like, let me just show you, we can do text decoration, and now we have these options here like bold, italic, obfuscated, underline, and strike through. So let's go ahead and do bold. You can actually do more than one, so text decoration .underline. So now we should get a aqua message that is bold and underlined. Let's just change this to red actually. So now it should be red. And then now we just got to pass our component variable into that, and it should send it to us. So now we can break a block. Boom, there we go. We get you just broke a block in red and underlined and also bold. So that's working. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to be able to build messages or text components using Adventure, and then add on, formatting and stuff like that using these methods here. You have stuff like append a new line if you want to. That's, again, pretty self-explanatory. You'll append a new line. And then you could append even more components onto this. Even though you just started with one text component, you can add as many components as you want to create even longer, a more complex message. So we can add another text component by doing component.text. And into this, we can pass another message like, let's just tell them what block they just broke. So we could say you got, and then we'll add on the material.name. So this will be our original message, and then we're going to add a new line to that, and then we're going to add another piece of text that says you got, and then the material name for the block that you just broke. There we go. So it says you just broke a block, you got Minecraft grass block. So let's make this look a little cooler. So we're going to take the material name, cut that, and we're going to add on another text component. So append component dot text, paste that in, and then we'll set the color for that. So color named text color dot gold. We can fix the formatting by doing Control Alt L. You can also just do this because it's kind of hard to tell at some point which one you're referring to. So we have this component here. We have a text component which has the material name, and then we're adding the color onto it. And we could also add some decoration if we want to. So we could do text decoration, italic, and text decoration underlined. And then we'll just get rid of this decoration up here. We don't really want that anymore. So now we have appended this other component here with the color and decoration. And since it's sort of nested like this, it should only apply to this one and not the whole thing. So this one's red, and as you saw, the red transferred over to this part here. So we can add a color for this one as well. We could do text color dot, and you could do RGB or whatever like I showed you before, or you can do like a hexadecimal string. So if you just search up on Google color picker, this is what that would give you. So we can just play around with this and choose any color that we want, like pink. And so this would be the hex string that we could Control-C copy, come back here, and then paste. And it's just complaining because I put it in the wrong place. So just like that. What's cool is that IntelliJ also realized that you're using a color here, so it's able to display that color for you, which you can click on and change even, which is pretty cool. Let me undo that. So let's try this out, see what this looks like now. Okay, we're back on the server. Let's break a block. And boom, it says you just broke a block. You got Minecraft grass block. So as you can see, all the colors and formatting and stuff like that is being applied. Pretty cool. Hopefully this is making sense so far. This is just basics on how you can do text components with Adventure, because these components are useful for not only sending messages, but also other types of elements that you send to a player or on the server, like titles and stuff like that. Knowing how to build these components here is very important. Another thing that you can do with Adventure is hover and click events. So for example, you can do hover event, and then to this you pass something called the hover event source. This can be something like a text component or an item stack. And all this means is that whenever you hover over this text component here, which is the material name in this case, it will show that thing that you pass into this because you're hovering over it. If you use the click event instead, whenever you click the message, then something will happen instead. Just as an example here for the hover event, we're going to set component.text, and we're going to say hovering over the item. So that should be displayed whenever we hover over. Let's try it out. Okay, we're back. And boom, you got same message as before, but now when we hover over the material name, it says hovering over the item. So if you've ever wondered how you can do that, that's how you can do that really easily with Adventure. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to show you for the basics of building text components within Adventure. Again, check their documentation for more information and more stuff that you can do, but these are pretty much the main common things that you'll need to be able to do. And we're sending it to a player by doing player.sendMessage. So this is returning a player object, and then we're doing send message, right? And the thing about the player object is that it's also an audience, meaning that it can receive stuff from Adventure, basically. So Adventure is not only about building these UI elements, but it also has something called audiences within it. So an audience in Adventure, as the documentation says, is a grouping of 0 or more viewers of some content. And all that means is that anything that is an audience, such as a player, for example, can receive these UI elements that Adventure has. In Minestom specifically, audiences include players, command sender. So whenever you're dealing with commands, the sender of the command is also an audience, so you can send them these components as well, and also other things. Scoreboards and teams and stuff like that, and also the instance. So for example, we know that an instance is a world in Minestom, right? So if you do instance and then do .sendMessage, that is a valid method on a instance object, and this is because it is an audience, right? And so whenever you do send message to an instance, this will forward every single person in that instance in the world the message that you're trying to send, okay? And that's a really cool abstraction by Adventure because it has this, audience thing that could technically be anything. And as long as it implements audience, you can send it these sort of universal UI elements such as messages and titles and boss bars and stuff like that. And I'll talk more about that in a second, but just for now, know that because a player, which we're getting here, is an audience, we're able to call a send message and pass in that text component from Adventure, okay? With that in mind, one of the other things that you can send it to an audience member is a title. So a title, if you've ever seen it, I'll show it on the screen right now. That's what a title looks like in Minecraft. So what I'm going to do is make a simple command that we can use to test that out. So we're just going to call this the title command. So title command. And so remember from the commands episode, to make a command, you do extends command from Minestom. And then we need to make a constructor. So we'll do public title command and then do super. And now this will be the command name. So we're going to call it title. And inside of here, we can also declare the syntax for the command as well. We're going to add a very basic default executor so that if there's no arguments or anything like that, this is what will run. And so for this default executor, we have sender and context. Remember, I told you before that a command sender, which is what this is an audience as well. So this means that we can do stuff like sender.sendMessage. And you can see that it accepts a component from Adventure. You could also do something like show title or show boss bar, which are from Adventure as well. So show title is what we're going to be focusing on, and what we pass to that is a title. To create a title, we can do title is equal to title.title. Now you can provide the title as a component and also the subtitle as a component. So let's just say that we want the top part of it to be hello world in like gold, for example. So what we can do here is make a component, a text component, and we'll say hello world. And then to make it gold, we can, as we saw before, do color gold. Or we could just do comma named text color.gold, either way. So that's going to be for the main title. And then for the subtitle, we can add another component for that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this first one here, paste it, and we'll say for the subtitle goes here. And we'll just make this one gray. And also we'll add some decoration. We'll do text decoration italic. So the subtitle should appear with italics, but not the actual main title, okay? Because these are two different text components, right? If you want to, you could separate these into variables, especially as they get more complex. So you could say main title is equal to that, and then var subtitle is equal to the bottom one here, just like that. And then now we can pass them in like main title and subtitle. Okay, now that we're using this main title and subtitle to create a title, we can pass this title into show title, which will show it to this audience member, which in this case is the person who ran the command sender. Before we can test this out, we need to register our new command here. So we'll go back to here and we'll do Minecraft server.get command manager.register, and we'll pass in new title command just like that. So now it's going to restart the server and test it out. All right, back on the server now, so we can do /title. Boom, it says hello world in gold, and then the subtitle in gray and also italics. So it works perfectly. Pretty awesome, right? And you could do the same thing for boss bars and other stuff like that, like even sound, right? As long as you have an audience member, you can send it stuff like that using Adventure. And it's so easy to craft the actual components of the title, like the main title and the subtitle, just using the components that we already learned about. So the same way that we can create text components for messages, we can create text components for titles as well. If we want to get more practice with commands, we can also make this more advanced by making it so that they can pass in the actual main title and subtitle to this. So what I'm going to do is do var title text arg is equal to argument type dot string. So we want a string, which is going to be the actual title text. We'll say title text, and then we'll do var subtitle text arg is equal to argument type dot string subtitle text, just like that. And then now we're going to add a syntax for that specific variation of this command here. So add the comma, title text arg, and then subtitle text arg. So now this will be like /title, title text, and subtitle text. So for the actual code of this, we can first get those values. So we'll say title string is equal to context.get title text arg, just like that. Same thing for the subtitle. So subtitle string is equal to context.get subtitle text arg. And then finally, with all of that, we can now construct an actual title to show to the player who ran the command. So we're going to do title, we'll say new title because we already have title above, and we can go ahead and do title, and then we can pass in components for that. So we'll do component.text, and we'll do title string, and then we could do component.text subtitle string, and there we go. So and then after that, finally, we could use our sender, which is an audience. So sender.send, or rather show title, new title. So that should show it to that command sender. So hopefully that makes sense. We're simply adding these two arguments for the main title and the subtitle. When they run the command with this variation here with those two values, it should pass those in and use that to create the title to show to the command sender, okay? Let's try this out. All right, we're back. So we'll do /title. So this still works the same, but now If we put a space, we can see that we have title text and subtitle text. So we can say potato and banana, and boom, there we go, potato and banana. So it's able to take those arguments and then construct a title dynamically and show it to the player. So something else about titles is that you may want to customize the time in which they're shown on the screen for the audience member. So this time is going to be broken up into 3 different sections. You're going to have the 1 is going to be the fade in time, 2 will be the display time, and then 3 will be the fade out time. So as these names imply here, the fade in time is how long it takes for the title to actually fade in. The display time is how long it's going to stay faded in, just stay solid and just on the screen. And then after that's done, the fade out time is going to be how long it takes for it to actually fade out to be completely gone. We can set that by doing var title times is equal to title.times. So title.times.times. And here we can see the duration for the fade in, the stay, and the fade out. So we already know about duration from the last episode, so we can do duration dot. We have all these different options here, so we could say between, from, of days, of hours, of milliseconds, of minutes. So I think of seconds is probably the most useful one, or milliseconds. So duration dot of seconds, we'll say it takes 2 seconds to fade in. We'll say it takes 3 seconds to stay, and then for the fade out, we'll do duration dot of seconds, or we can do milliseconds just as an example here. Let's just say 500 milliseconds. So it should be half a second, which is pretty quick. Now that we have this variable here, which sets each of these 3 times here, we can set this when we're creating the title itself. So here when we do title.title, the last argument we could pass to this, which is optional, is the title times. There we go. So now when we run /title, it should show it for these durations, okay? Let's try it out. Okay, we're back on the server now, so we'll do /title. So it took about 2 seconds to fade in. Now it should be 3 seconds to stay, I believe. And then it faded out pretty quickly, as you saw. So you can play around with those times, make it as fast or as slow as you want. Since we use duration, it makes it pretty easy to do all of that. So that's pretty awesome. And yeah, that's the basics of how you can send titles using the Adventure library. It's again very easy, just using the text components and all that fun stuff. This is yet just another benefit of using Adventure, considering how easy it is to make these titles and also send them to different audience members. I want to show you guys how to create one more command, which will also show more about audiences in general, so that we can get a better understanding of how we can get audiences and what they are. So let's go ahead and create a new Java class called the broadcast command. So broadcast command. This will allow us to broadcast a message to a audience of people. So extends command. We'll do public broadcast command super broadcast. So that's the name of the command. And the way we want this command to work is we want the player to be able to do /broadcast and then pass in a message. And this message here can be not only just one string, but as many arguments as they want. So it could be something like, I like spaghetti, spaghetti. So this is, as you can see, 3 different arguments, but we want to have it combined together and then broadcast it to all the players on the server, for example. So first step, let's just add a default executor. So set default executor. And we're going to say sender.send message. You need to specify a message to broadcast. So /broadcast message, just like that. As you can see here, we're just using a string and not a adventure component because we're not doing any formatting or any coloring or anything special like that. So that's just why I did it like that in this specific example here. You don't always have to use components. So now let's define the syntax that will allow us to pass in these arguments here. So we're going to do var message arg is equal to argument type dot string. Instead of string, we're going to do string array. And this is just an argument type that allows us to specify or grab multiple arguments together as a single string array, okay? So let's just take a look at what that looks like. So we'll do message, and then now we're going to add a syntax, complete the lambda, and we're going to add our argument to that syntax. So message arg. And now to actually grab those arguments when you run the command, we can do string array instead of just a regular string. Message array is equal to context.get message arg, just like that. And just like you might expect, what this will do, since we specified it as a string array for the argument type, whenever you run the command with arguments, it will take each of the strings and combine them together into the string array here, with each element being an individual argument or word or whatever you want to call it, okay? So now what we should do is combine that together into one single message. An easy way to do that is using a string builder. So string builder message builder is equal to new string builder. And then we could do a for loop. So for string s out of the message array. So we're looping through that string array. And then for each element of that array, we can do message builder dot append s dot append space. Just add a space onto the end of that. And then now we have the final message. So string final message is equal to the builder dot toString. So this is taking everything that we added to the builder and then converting it into just a regular final string with everything all together, okay? So now what we need to do is send the message to all players. Now in different frameworks, you may have to get the server and then get every single player in the server as like a list or something like that, and then loop through the list and send each message one by one. But since we're using the Adventure Library, which is built into Minestom, we can just do audiences from Minestom dot, and we have these different methods here that will give us an audience. So first we have players, and what this will do is give you every single player on the server as an audience. And so since we have all these different things here as an audience, we can call, show title, send message, and all that stuff, and it will send it to all of them automatically for us. We also have server, which is similar to players, but it will also get the console as well. So it's a combination of all the players on the server and the console. You have all, so this will get all audience members. This returns players combined with customs and console. And then you have custom. So yeah, custom is basically just a way of creating custom audience members, which we'll learn about in a future video. This will be a more advanced topic. So the main ones that we're going to work with is going to be players, server, and console. There's also variations of these that accepts a predicate. So basically you can have it get every single player who matches this filter here as an audience. So I'll show that in a second, but that's really cool stuff if you understand what I'm saying here. So the first thing that we'll test out is just players. So we'll do audiences.players, which again gets every single player as an audience. And then we could do send message, because again, anything that's an audience, we can do send message or show tile or show boss bar, send sound or anything like that, okay? And now it's going to want a component. So we'll do component.text, pass in that final message. And we can even add some color to it if you want to. So named color, we'll do green. Let's go ahead and test this out now. So we just need to make sure that we register our command here. So Minecraft server.get command manager.register new broadcast command. Okay, I'm joining back now. We'll test it out. So do /broadcast. Oh, I spelled broadcast wrong. Hopefully you guys noticed that, but broadcast. And it says you need to specify a message to broadcast, which is our default executor. But now if we do space, we can pass in a message. So we could say, I really like toes. So now it says, I really like toes. And as you can see here, I got it as a message in green, which is perfect because that's the names color that we set for that when we, ran the command here and sent the message. And also keep in mind that because we're doing audiences.players, this should have been sent to every single player on the server. But of course, since I'm testing this just on my computer here and I only have one account at the moment, I'm only going to notice it. So if you do have other accounts who can join your local server, you can also test it out that way as well, okay? But yeah, just knowing that you can do audiences dot and you have these different options here to obtain an audience is very important. But there's other ways to get audiences besides that. You can get audiences from, like we saw before, with the command sender, with a player. So like if you're doing an event, for example, you can get the player from that event, which is an audience as well. And let me give you an example of the players method here with the predicate. So if we add this, a predicate is again just a lambda that returns a true or false, basically, that will filter out different options. So we could say something like return player dot get game mode, and we could say if the player is in survival, return true. And so this will basically make it so that it returns an audience that only has players that are in survival. That's all that will do, okay? Okay, we'll do /broadcast wiener. There we go, we get wiener. So because we're in survival, that works. And of course, we can also do all. So this will get every single person on the server, like all the players, but also the console and the custom ones that you add. Something else that I find really cool is that an instance is also an audience. So if we just get rid of this and we do if sender, because sender is a command sender, we want to make sure it's an instance of a player. So player like that, import player from Minestom. If it's a player, we can now do get instance. So we're getting the world or the instance that the player who ran the command is a part of. And since instance is a audience, you can now do the adventure commands. So send message or show title, just like any of the audiences that I just showed you 2 seconds ago. But what's cool is that because it's an instance, when you run send message on this or whatever, it will send it to every single player who's in that instance automatically. So I just think that's really cool. That's the kind of like built-in functionality that Minestom has integrated with the adventure library that just makes the whole experience better, because normally you would have to, in a different framework, get the world or the instance, get all the players in the world into a list, like I said before, and then send the message one by one. In this case, we don't have to do that, which is pretty cool. And so we can do component.text final message, and it should still work. So say broadcast bello, and it still works. Perfect. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys for this episode. This is how you can use the adventure library within Minestom, which is very important for learning how to send messages, first of all, so you can send, formatted messages with color and decoration and other cool things built in. But also, besides sending those messages, we learned about text components, how to build those text components and add all kinds of cool stuff to them, which we can also use to show titles as well. Finally, we learned about audiences, which is an easy way to send these UI components like messages and whatnot to players on the server. Overall, it makes the whole process way easier than otherwise. So hopefully you found this video interesting, and now you should be able to make your server even more advanced. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you guys in the next episode. Stay tuned for more videos. So that's it for this video, everybody. I really hope you learned something new. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to also check the description below for important links to code and other resources, but also really important, join our Discord. We have a big community of over 5,000 programmers, and it's a place where you can find new friends or get help on any code that you're stuck on. If you want to support what I do on this channel, please consider hitting the join button below, and this will allow you to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, but there are different tiers to choose from if you want to. For anyone that becomes a member on my channel, you get a special rank on my Discord server, early access to new videos, and you can just see yourself on the screen right now. So if that sounds cool to you, feel free to join. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you can't, that's okay too. I really just appreciate you watching the video anyway. Thank you so much. And that's it. Peace.